Hi, I'm Brad Erickson. Know all the hockey players in this room, and a lot of the rest of you. I'm probably going to lead two shots this like my younger brother. But first, I want to. Sorry. First, I want to pass along a message from a couple of people who couldn't be here. Pete Andrews, who is part of our hockey family, planned on driving in from Michigan today and emailed me that he got buried in a snowstorm and had to dig his wife out, so he couldn't make it. He passed along his condolences. Most of you also know Jimmy Porman, who has been in Florida for years and decided to kind of imitate the Kovac family. I think I have like 19 kids. He stopped at 5. But Jimmy sent me a message he wanted me to read, so I'm going to do that now. It says, I wish I could be there with you all to celebrate Coach in person. The weekend of the reunion 6 years ago was one of the highlights of my life. I think the best thing about it was the fact that all of us realized what a wonderful thing we had growing up. Us kids couldn't stop smiling, and Ian and John couldn't stop smiling the whole weekend. I think John said his face was hurting from smiling so much. I think it hit Ian too. He realized what a deep influence he had on all of us. All the hours, all the long drives and cold rinks, and all of his own time that he had spent. I think he saw that it was all worth it. It's that rare moment someone gets to observe the fruit of their labor in other lives all at once, and Ian got to witness it and hear it from us. His accomplishments on the ice were incredible, but I think leaving a legacy that changed lives tops all that. Thank you, Coach, for all you did for us. We love you, and we are so grateful to you. Again, that's Jimmy Porman. Maybe I can tell a couple stories before I break down. That reunion weekend we had was also one of the favorite weekends of my life. I put a lot of time and effort into organizing it, but in reality, it was Mike Minikini and Mike Goldberg who came up with the idea. I just kind of took over because they didn't know what the hell they're doing.
Something like that.
And Goldberg's too busy. But I learned my organizational skills from my mom, and she never had the internet, so I guess I just was able to take it a step further with Excel spreadsheets and emails. A couple things I remember that from my time around Mr. Cushenan and my dad. I remember my dad telling me a story Mr. Cushenan told him about, I think it was the first time he played against Gordie Howe, and Gordie Howe apparently said something to him to the effect of, okay, big boy, you stay away from me, and I'll stay away from you. That's pretty impressive, because Gordie Howe wasn't afraid of anybody. I've met Bobby Hull a few times. Over the years, I've been in Chicago 24 years almost now, and do some charity work with the Blackhawks, and I've met Bobby at a couple different events, and he played with Mr. Cushenan in his rookie year. And here, I mentioned that to him, and he remembered him, he asked about him, he knew his late wife's name. I mean, it was shocking to hear, a Hall of Famer like that that's remembered so much from so many years ago. That was pretty cool. And there's some other guys that I met through Bobby Hull that day who knew Mr. Cushenan from St. Catharines, from playing the teepees together. I don't remember the gentleman's name, but he's the first Native American to ever make it in the NHL. And when I mentioned him, he said, oh yeah, he played for the teepees, big guy. Just crazy that the memories some of these guys have about their former teammates and opponents, and Mr. Cushenan in particular. I stopped by the house a couple hours ago to visit with Mrs. Cushenan for a little while, and she told me the story about lady from now on, wherever you go, or wherever I go, you go, but I'd never heard that before either. Todd's right that there's so many stories that Mr. Cushenan shared over the years that sometimes he tells one to this guy or that guy, and we don't all hear them, so it's kind of great to hear some of the stories that other people heard that I didn't. I actually just want to thank everybody for coming as well. I look around this room, and the jerseys and the parents and siblings and so on. This is like the luminaries from my childhood. So many people in this room who were so important to my childhood and great memories. I mean, Bobby Bailey lived on the street. His dad played in the NHL as well and coached us and used to sharpen my skates and call me Peanut. Then he called my younger brother Peanut, and I didn't think it was cool anymore. Yeah, you know, I mean, so many people. You know, McMillans are here. Mr. McMillan was a coach for a lot of us when we were bands, and he passed away 12 years ago, which is, you know, horrible. And it's one of the things about getting older is we start losing people that we care about. Mr. Goldberg passed away a couple years ago. Sorry.
Love you, Brad.
I'll pay you later. Thank you. Because I was sending emails out and some texts with people, I heard from so many other people that couldn't be here. I don't think Dougie Pektvik made it. He, you know, Mr. Cushenan, my dad, had a special place in his heart, and we've talked about it. I saw Doug about a year ago. I was in Vegas to coach a hockey tournament with Todd Harkins, who brought a team in from Vancouver, and I met him out there to coach. And we met Dougie at his restaurant he just opened at the Palms Casino. He and Michael Simon, who Harkins was best friends with in high school, apparently. And they sat with us and brought us every single item on the menu and said, just try a little of everything, and wouldn't let us pay a dime. And people kept stopping by the table to get pictures and autographs with Michael Simon. And then Dougie took us into the bar in the casino after that. We were out till 4:30 in the morning just telling stories about Oberlin and Fountain Blue Days and American Tank. And you know, just times like that. And just being here brings back some of those great memories. And Mr. Cushenan was a big part of that from a very early age. I don't remember how old I was exactly the first time I met him, but maybe 7 or 8 years old. And like Todd, I was squeezed between he and my dad on the way to a game. And he had a certain cologne he used to wear that stuck with me. And if I ever walked by somebody that had it on, I'm sure I would notice it. And I didn't really like it very much, but Mrs. Cushenan did. And that was more important, obviously. At the reunion game a few years ago, and you guys don't remember who played for the team. We didn't get a lot of compliments on the ice, if any. You know, you could score the greatest goal in the history of hockey, and they might look at you when you came back to the bench, if at all. But if you made one mistake, you heard about it for weeks, or maybe even today. But in the reunion game we had 6 years ago, I got a penalty shot. Because all penalties were penalty shots, and Manikini tried to be a goon, and he got a penalty. So I went in, made a move on Portland, had him beat, lost the puck to him, blew the shot. I go back to the bench, and Mr. Cushenan says, I had a penalty shot one time, and I decided just to shoot it right in the goalie's legs so I didn't make a fool out of myself. Would have been a nice tip. I know a lot of us have gone on to play hockey in men's leagues, and maybe some guys are still playing. But many of us in this room have gone into coaching. I coach tons of kids still, and carry a lot of the lessons that I learned from my dad, Mr. Cushenan, with me to this day, and try to pass them along. A little more gentle. Different world right now. Yeah, it's hard. It's a tough week. I look at Mr. Cushenan's family and children and grandchildren, and I know he was proud of everybody, his family, all of us, and I miss him. I love him, and thank him for everything. And Mrs. Cushenan, I love you too. And thanks everybody for coming.